Hi, Goddess Explorers. Today we're going to work with a tool called Who Does This Belong To? And what this really deals with is the energy out in the field. So I invite you to consider that we are always perceiving this energy that's like a soup all around us. The things that we're hearing from the radio, the things that we're hearing from our parents, anything that other people are feeling around us or thinking around us, we are perceiving those things. It's an energetic field that we all share. So as we embark on this exploration about who we are as goddesses, as women, as feminine beings, I want to invite you to really call up the things that are in the way of that. What is not goddess? What is not woman? What are all of those things that you have inherited? So, first of all, I want to invite you to place your hands on your head. And so you want to take your hands and form just like a little bit of a curve, your fingers at the end of your hand, at the end of your fingers, and go hold the spot right behind your ear. If you go back about half an inch, maybe an inch, you probably feel a ridge. Let your fingers fall down into that spot behind the ridge. If you don't feel a ridge, that's okay. Still just go back half an inch or an inch and hold your fingers in a spot that maybe feels a little bit hot. Maybe it just feels like that's where your fingers want to stop. So through the work, the body of work known as Access Consciousness, this spot is called your implant band. And it has to do with all the places that we store information about what we've received from the outside world. So while you hold this, I want to invite you to consider, what do you have in your space about what it means to be a woman or a goddess or feminine, what you should and shouldn't be, and everything that is. Wherever you've inherited that from your family, what are those things you've inherited from your family? Shoulds, nots, should nots. Who does it belong to? If it belongs to your family, would you be willing to return it now? And when we return energy to sender, it's not like we're returning judgment back and slap somebody in the face with it. No, it's just energy. If it's not our energy, we can return it to wherever it's coming from. And it's actually good for whoever sent it in the first place, because then they just have more of their own energy. And they don't have to send it to you consciously. They can just be thinking it or feeling it near you. In fact, I saw this study once that a girl's body image is influenced most by the mother's body image of her own self. So the mother's criticism of herself leads to the daughter's criticism of herself far more than if the mother criticized the daughter. Does that make sense? So even what other people are thinking or feeling that they're not trying to send to you, or projections that they're trying to send to you. The whole cosmetic industry is trying to send messages to you that there's something wrong with the way you look, right? This is how lots of industries make money. So getting present to all the energy that's in your space, being a woman, not being a woman, being the right way, the wrong way, what a goddess is or isn't or should not be, what femininity is, what you should be or should not be, what's right with femininity or feminism and what's wrong with it. All of those things in your field, who does it belong to? Who does it belong to? Anywhere where it belongs to family, it's their experience or their projection. Would you be willing to return it to senders now? Return to senders, return to senders. You can say it out loud or just to yourself, return to senders. What's in your field about being a woman or a goddess or feminine from your friends or your peers? What they project at you or what they are feeling and experiencing. Whatever's already in the field for you from friends and peers, will you please return it to senders now? Who does it belong to? If it belongs to friends, peers, return to senders. Return to senders, return to senders. What else is in there? What do you have from education and academia? How should a girl be? How should a girl not be? What's the right and the wrong way? Historically, what is honored and held up or not? Who does all this belong to? Anything you're holding that comes from academia and education, would you please return to sender now? Return to senders, return to senders, return to senders, return to senders. What do you have in your field that you've inherited from religion or spirituality? What is divine? What is not divine? What is the role of a woman or not? Is goddess something that exists or not? What does it mean? All of those projections or all of those experiences, who does all of that belong to? Will you return it all to the world and the people and the collective conversations in religion or spirituality? Anything you're picking up from those wavelengths, you can return to sender now. Return to senders, return to senders, return to senders, return to senders. You can attach something like a little bit of consciousness to it or a little bit of kindness, generosity. Return to sender with kindness. What is in your field right now from the media? Projections about how other people are, how you should be, how you should not be. Maybe you're a goddess if you are skinny or you're young or you're blonde or you're white. Whatever all of that is from the media. Would you be willing to return to senders now? Return to senders, return to senders, return to senders, return to senders. What do you have in your space now from the world of business? How can a woman be powerful or not in business? How must she be? Must she not be? How would a goddess show up? What would people think of a goddess in business? Everything in your field from your world of business. Would you like to return all of that to senders now? Return to senders with consciousness, return to senders with kindness. What's in your space now from the health industry? Projections about your body and what's wrong with your body medically or what's right with your body. What that has to do with being a woman, being the right way as a woman or not. Does that have anything to do with being a goddess or not a goddess? Everything that is, who does it belong to? If it belongs to the medical fields, would you please return to senders now? Return to senders, return to senders, return to senders. What is in the field now about using your voice? Were you entrained to think that you should be quiet, that it's more feminine to be quiet, or that you have to have a beautiful voice? Quote unquote beautiful, whatever that means. Whatever's in your space about being a goddess, using your voice. Would you like to return that to senders? Return to senders, return to senders. What do you have in your space about being embodied, being in a body, being sexual, being sensual, being sexual and sensual the right way, the wrong way, too much, not enough? Everything in your field about sexuality, would you please return all that to senders now? Return to senders, return to senders, return to senders. Everything you have in your space about finances, what it means to be a woman related to finances. Can you be wealthy? Can you not be wealthy? Should you marry a rich husband? Everything in your field about finances, would you be willing to return it to sender? Just clear all that away. Return to senders, return to senders, return to senders. What do you have in your field from romantic relationships or about romantic relationships? How should you be in relationships as a woman? What is feminine or not feminine? What do men like or not like? What is your partner projecting, perhaps, or past partners or potential future partners? Everything you've come to believe about what it means to be feminine or not feminine, shoulds and should nots, regarding being a woman in romantic relationships. Maybe you should not love other women. Maybe you should not have sex with other women. Maybe you shouldn't be slutty. Maybe you shouldn't be horny. Maybe you should be more horny. Maybe you should be have more libido. Everything that is. Who does all of that belong to? Would you be willing to return all of that to senders now? Return to senders, return to senders, return to senders, return to senders. What do you have about your body related to beauty? What have you been told or come to believe is beautiful about you and your body or not beautiful about you? Everywhere you're harboring any thoughts and feelings and emotions about your body and its beauty, would you now please return to sender? Who does that belong to? Return to sender, return to sender, return to sender. What about your heart? As a woman, how should you be in your heart? Should you just have compassion? Should you never be aggressive? Or something else, whatever you have about how you should be in your heart. Who does it belong to? If you're willing, would you now return to senders, return to senders, return to senders, return to senders? By the way, if your hands get tired, which mine sure do when I hold this, you can bring your elbows closer together and that can be easier, or you can just put your hands down. That's fine too, it'll still work. Anything about aging, about hormones, about what it means to be younger, midlife, older life. Who does all of that belong to? What are your thoughts, your feelings and emotions about age? Maybe and the value of woman or the desirability of woman related to age. Who does that belong to? And will you now return to sender? Return to senders, return to senders, return to senders, return to senders. And now just give some space for everything else. What else comes up when you think about being a goddess? Not being a goddess. Being a woman. Being feminine. Not being masculine. Not being unfeminine. All the nots and the shoulds and the should nots and the how things are and how they should be. Anything else is left in your field regarding being a woman, being a goddess? Who does all that belong to? And will you now return to senders? Return to senders, return to senders, return to senders, return to senders, return to senders with consciousness. And I invite you to just take a moment and get present to your body. Is there anywhere that it's still kind of lodged in your tissues? Let's go ahead and move the issues through the tissues, move them out. So you can brush yourself off a little bit, make contact with your own body, your skin, down your legs, your front and your back, every part of your body, even the forbidden parts, you can touch those. You can shake them, help the energy move. You You can also just hold them, give them some attention, help them release whatever there is to release. Let the energy dissipate and go back to wherever it comes from. Some of this may come back because it's very likely that you'll be around this kind of energy again. And when it does, I encourage you not to take it in again and buy it. Not to say, oh, see, I still feel that way, or there's something wrong with me. You can start to build the muscle of saying, who does this belong to? And if it doesn't belong to you, return to senders. And if it really feels true for you, like it really belongs to me, probably you just bought it and you have a lot of evidence for it now. You bought it somewhere along the line. Maybe you bought it when you were 2 years old and you never knew that you bought it, but it feels really true about you. What if all of that you can return to senders to and just let it all go? Return to senders, return to senders, return to senders. Thank you for participating in this practice with me. I hope you enjoy your ongoing exploration of yourself as goddess.